Pam Bondi is out. Iran is taking crypto. We're going to break it all down for you today. You don't want to miss it. Let's just jump right in. Let's thank our sponsor now, and that is Tangem. This is where you guys can get into self-custody. This will make all the sense in the world in a minute, but if you are not into self-custody and crypto, this is one of the things you should put on your checklist. This is the place to go, tangem.com. True ownership, easy to use, very secure, one of the best solutions out there. It works like a credit card with your phone, and that locks up your crypto. You can pull it off of centralized exchanges, and you get to manage it. Very easy to set up and not very expensive either to get one of these. So just hit that Buy Tangem right there. It's going to get you a little bit of a discount, including some extra bonuses in Bitcoin as well. So use our link down below. It all stacks up and it does help us out. All right, let's get into it today. You guys will remember we did this video 3 weeks ago and said this is happening. If you had bet on Polymarket on that one, you would be very, very happy today because Pam Bondi is out. Let's go right to the Truth Social. Pam Bondi, great American patriot, loyal friend who faithfully served as my attorney general over the past year. She is gone, has done an absolute terrible job overseeing a massive crackdown. And of course, we love Pam, but she's got to go. So that's basically what it says. And that is the fact, and we kind of anticipated this down the road. So it's nothing new, guys. It's nothing new. There will be more people coming down the pipe for sure. Now, I want to go into the Trump highlights from last night. Everybody, if you didn't catch the speech, this will give it a good wrap-up. Take a look.
In these past 4 weeks, our armed forces have delivered swift, decisive, overwhelming victories on the battlefield. Obama gave them $1.7 billion in cash, green cash. So to those countries that can't get fuel, many of which refuse to get involved in the decapitation of Iran, we had to do it ourselves. Build up some delayed courage. Should have done it before, should have done it with us as we asked. Go to the Strait and just take it. In any event, when this conflict is over, the Strait will open up naturally. It'll just open up naturally. And the gas prices will rapidly come back down. Stock prices will rapidly go back up. They haven't come down very much, frankly. We're going to hit them extremely hard over the next 2 to 3 weeks. We're going to bring them back to the Stone Ages where they belong. Regime change was not our goal. We never said regime change, but regime change has occurred because of all of their original leaders' death. They're all dead. If there is no deal, we are going to hit each and every one of their electric generating plants very hard and probably simultaneously. This is a true investment in your children and your grandchildren's future. The whole world is watching, and they can't leave the power, strength, and brilliance. They just can't believe what they're seeing. They leave it to your imagination, but they can't believe what they're seeing, the brilliance of the United States.
All right, so you can see a lot of people, I think, were hoping that there may be something, but I think most everybody had a good understanding that it would be pretty much a nothing burger coming out of President Trump last night. But one thing is happening, and that is that we are seeing oil surge above a 110. We are now at 112 a barrel. This continues to push up. If you look at just where West Texas crude has been in the past, this is now at an all-time high from that spike that we saw all the way back here in 2022. If we get into that level right there, which was the May 30th, 2022, where we started to clip into a 111, almost 115 a barrel, we are facing that right now. And from what my oil people tell me out there that are in this business, this is a no-win at 115 a barrel, a no-win for the United States. Continue to put more pressure on the economy. Here's a clip talking about, could it get worse from here? Take a look.
Kate, look, the president's speech, it clearly failed to put out the fire in the oil market. If anything, it seemed to just make people even more nervous, right? The hope was that we get some clarity, some de-escalation. We didn't get that. That's why we're seeing this 10% increase in oil prices today. $110 a barrel, highest intraday level in almost 4 years. And there is this concern that if the war lasts through June, you could see much higher prices. Macquarie Group had put out some research recently where they said if this lasts through June, $200 a barrel oil, that would equate to $7 a gallon gasoline in the United States, blowing away that record high from 4 years ago under former President Biden. And I asked Macquarie Group, what if the war ends, the military conflict winds down, but the Strait of Hormuz remains closed? And they said, yeah, that could still lead to this $200 a barrel oil situation, because even though the president has argued we don't need the Strait of Hormuz and the United States is completely immune, I mean, this is still a world oil market. And I think, if anything, the last 4 months has really shown us how this remains interconnected.
All right, so a lot interconnected here. And granted, you have to remember that in Asia, oil prices are even higher. This goes on and has a carry-on effect into the stock market. S&P 500 erased $830 billion as U.S. markets opened for the first time, obviously since Trump's speech. It has corrected slightly, but the fact that the initial shock was real just goes to show you that we're continuing to see a lot more pressure on this market in general. Additionally to that, you're going to see the U.S. applying more tariffs on steel and aluminum products. This continues to put more pressure on countries and companies here in the United States that need aluminum and steel. This will continue to push down. Remember, this was a year ago where Trump imposed the first massive tariffs hitting the country. We're now 1 year in, and where are we now? That's exactly what everybody is asking. The other point that you have to look at is this news right here. And this is, I'm a little sideways on this because I don't understand it exactly. But now vessels can pay for oil or passage in yuan or crypto. Primarily, they're talking about stablecoins. And if it is stablecoins, that of course supports, in most cases, a U.S. Treasury or gold. So I don't get the reasoning behind why go this direction, other than maybe liquidity and possibility of availability of some companies and countries starting to try to navigate the Strait of Hormuz and be able to pay in something they can get access to. So that's interesting right now. This, of course, gets into what's happening around where is crypto going inside Iran. Take a look.
What we have seen is that, clearly there is heightened activity of things happening on crypto exchanges within Iran. And I think what people need to know is that half of this activity is actually local Iranian citizens escaping the regime, and roughly half of that usage we think is tied to IRGC being able to buy weapons and conduct oil trade, and now think about taxing ships going through the Strait of Hormuz.
Stablecoins are a vital safe haven in this Middle East conflict. Is this problematic for the U.S. government?
Having the intelligence behind money movement of the Iranian regime is critical. What we need to focus on as a country is making sure that all of the economic flows linked to the sustenance behind the regime is well understood. And to the extent that stablecoins are being used, there are tools at the disposal to be able to conduct sanctions activity against some of these wallets, and the U.S. has been very active in that front. There's also opportunities to freeze and seize assets as they go beyond Iranian borders and get integrated into the global cryptocurrency ecosystem. And so the visibility that we can create from Chainanalysis of showing what this economy looks like is actually critical to the intelligence picture.
All right, so interesting words there from Chainanalysis on the word we being able to track this, meaning U.S. government, Chainanalysis. Interesting points there. If you look at some of the data coming out of this, this shows some very interesting timelines. You had the Iranian missile strike. We saw a spike in crypto usage and activity. It started to slide down, war begins, and of course another trend up. But overall, this has been trending up really since June of 2023. And further into that, when you look at the IRCG, they also have been trending up since June of 2023 in terms of how much volume is being run through Iran into crypto. So here's a chart that kind of breaks down what he was mentioning there in terms of it's about 50-50 citizens and IRCG. But this gives us a good analysis on the fact that we are seeing flight to safety meaning crypto, whether that's in stablecoins, Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, whatever it might be. Point being is that we're seeing activity that is growing significantly. If you look at the crypto asset outflows, this is from Nobitex, one of the top exchanges over there. Just to give you an example, U.S. sanctions, this was in February. First Israeli and U.S. non-strikes outflows occur. These outflows are all trending up. Again, Other data shows right here in terms of the Iranian service outflows, this is where we get into a lot of the individuals that are starting to move out into flight to safety. So a lot of activity here right now. Now here is Novatex, which is the centralized exchange there within Iran. But you'll notice here is the IRCG kind of moving in and out of it. Then you have a whole slew of other DEXs and exchanges that are also working in and out of Novatex. So the point that Chainanalysis was talking about, Chainanalysis is talking about, is the fact that when you are utilizing crypto, this is all traceable, pretty much. And when you apply this to some of the technologies that are already out there, whether it's Chainanalysis, whether you look at Palantir, the involvement in this, I don't understand why that Iran would do this, but they are doing it. The other thing to watch is the value shift that is occurring, because most of it, you'll see in the gray, I don't know if you guys can read that on screen, but the gray bar right there is Tether. And this had been trending up really since around also 2023, right there, 2023, July, trending up significantly. It peaks in October of 24 and then starts sliding down, and other assets start building up. And then here we are right now. So the fact that they are looking at other assets for more of a diversified portfolio is intriguing, because this gets into ETH, Tron, Bitcoin, BSUSD. So watch this, guys. There's a lot happening. And remember, there's only a handful of tokens that could handle the client liquidity that we're talking about, because these tankers are expensive. So imagine that. Right there you've got Bitcoin. If you look at that daily volume, available market liquidity, Ethereum, XRP, BNB, Solana. Those are the ones that most likely will benefit from this, if anyone does. But the point is that those are the assets to kind of keep an eye on. Other things you got to keep an eye on right here is the cost, and we continue to accelerate, heading into 40 billion as we move forward on the first, what are we, 33 days in? Oh, I don't like that number. 33 days in, and not good signs right there. At least the human cost has not continued to rise, at least in the short period of time, but that could change quickly. The other thing that plays into this is budgets. Budgets are getting weird because you've got Iranian military budget, 10 billion, I understand that. But Pentagon asking for 200 billion on top of the 1 trillion that has already been allocated to fight Iran. That I don't agree with. More money going into the coffers of just building more death machines. I don't understand why that is going to be the case. One other thing I want to hit on is this right here, Democratic senators demanding answers from Hegseth. This is in reference to a defense investment inquiry. And if you look further into it, earlier that week, the broker for Hegseth at Morgan Stanley contacted BlackRock, an equity fund, and tried to make a multi-million-dollar investment into a fund with defense stocks weeks before the Iranian war. So not good signs here, guys, when you look at these kind of things, as well as the fact that we already have Pam Bondi out. One other note that you can look at here in the article, which I thought was unusual, is that the Pentagon actually demanded a retraction on this story. So interesting times ahead. And you look at Pam Bondi out, is Hegseth maybe next going forward? Other things you got to look at is who is benefiting from this? Well, here's Anthony Scaramucci talking about it.
Announced that they're going to bomb the electrical grids. The markets are illiquid over the weekends because we don't have 24-hour trading. And then there is unusual activity. $1.5 billion of notional S&P called E-minis, their futures contracts, are bought 1 hour prior to Donald Trump saying that he's talked to somebody that the Iranians say doesn't exist and that he didn't talk to, and that he's calling a 5-day moratorium on the strikes. And they contemporaneously bought $192 million in crude oil futures. So this was 4 to 6 times the normal activity 1 hour before he makes the 5-day moratorium announcement. So they made between $300 and $400 million off of the purchase and sale of these contracts. And of course, this is not the first time that this has happened. Okay, there's been multiple times throughout the year that he says something, the trade goes on, he then says another thing, we sometimes call it taco, but they're laughing at you and they are laughing at me while they're doing it. The kids have said to people, before this is over, we're going to be the richest family in the world. So I think we're underreporting the amount of money.
All right. I mean, this is where it gets a bit gross, guys, is this kind of insider activity that is and appears to be going on. The interesting point is it's all being brought to light. I don't necessarily see a way out on this, but here's the other angle on this is when you look at that happening and also compare to other things that need to be done inside the government, here is a clip on what is at risk. Take a look.
We can't take care of daycare. We're a big country. We have 50 states. We have all these other people. We're fighting wars. We can't take care of daycare. You got to let a state take care of daycare, and they should pay for it, too. They should pay. They have to raise their taxes, but they should pay for it. And we could lower our taxes a little bit to them to make up, but it's not possible for us to take care of daycare. Medicaid, Medicare, all these individual things, they can do it on a state basis. You can't do it on a federal. We have to take care of one thing, military protection.
Okay, man, I always thought it was America first here. You look at the amount of money that was spent or could be spent on this budget, that would like cover free daycare for 14 million children in the U.S. That's a big deal for working families. I think these are the kind of things that Americans do want. And I think that's what they originally wanted by getting Trump in the office was let's get some of this working here in the U.S. Schiff comes in, kind of piles on. The lowest approval rating of any U.S. president was Harry Truman during his second term. The second lowest was Donald Trump now. And of course, despite core MAGA supporters, Trump will likely break Truman's record in his second term going forward. So let me know what you guys think. Are you in agreement with how this is playing out? If you're not, I'm sure this is going to get kind of crazy in the comments, but I'd love to see more interaction on where you guys stand on this. Trump is also preparing to release a fiscal year-end 2027 budget, and it's planned to release on Friday. You know what happens on Friday, guys. I think I've trained you enough. And when you want to cover something up, you drop it on a Friday afternoon and hope that things don't get picked up and more things get hit on over the weekend to cover up that news. It is PR 101. That's what you do. So be on the lookout right there. We're going to see all sorts of things, including cuts for domestic agencies, including healthcare, and entitlements. So watch for that budget in a big way. One last thing is when you look at Polymarket and the current midterm play out, the Senate is the one area right now. It's a 52% chance right now the Democrats take the Senate, which would be the biggest issue because it's going a foregone conclusion. We're losing the House. When I say we, the Republicans are going to lose the House. I say we in the sense of crypto is going to lose the House. The Senate, though, is important. And we had Deaton on yesterday. He is running for a Senate seat. He knows crypto. We need people up there that are going to fight for crypto and at least get some of this stuff through because I'm still cautious as to whether or not we get clarity through before midterms. That's the kind of things that we are concerned about. And if we don't get it through before midterms and crypto loses the Senate and the House, then that's pretty much done. I don't think we see a bipartisan approach to this. We're going to cover this very closely because a lot of things are happening right now. Stay tuned. If you like this video, hit like and subscribe, drop a comment down below, and also join our free private member group. The link is in the description.